Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Friday, October 30th, 2020 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I can utilize and be empowered by the divine flow. And I have my phone sitting right here because I was going to show you a meme, which I realized is very hard to do on a screen, so I'll have to post it. But my friend, Marsha from Mystical Musings, if you've checked us out on our patrons, she sent me an avocado meme that's been going around. Basically has an avocado with a teeny tiny seed, and it says the 2020 we were hoping for, all this amazing avocado, and then versus the 2020 we got, which has a gigantic seed and barely any avocado in it. And that just stimulated so much thought. We've talked about planting seeds before, the importance of that. But I was just thinking about how many seeds, metaphorically and physically, have been planted in 2020 due to the shifting, uneven, not very easygoing circumstances of 2020. And there is so much potential. There is so much power in these seeds that have been planted, or if you prefer Abraham terms, how much we've put into the vortex during this year for living healthier, more connected, more present kinds of lives. So this is important, I think, as we're finishing up 2020, as we finish up, over the next, it's about less than 2 months actually, of Jupiter and Saturn working their way through Capricorn, this physical sign of manifestation. And especially Jupiter and Capricorn, like really envisioning and seeding your vision of an earth that supports with its abundance everyone. And this full moon that we're building into supports this so much as well. This full moon, minus the Uranus part, which we'll get into, this full moon that we're having on Saturday morning, Halloween, with these really thin veils that just lend itself to even more divine connection, divine potential understanding. This full moon in the sign of Taurus, which is the material realm, the physical realm, our gifts, what we value. Taurus, really strong earth energy, and I don't even mean just earth as in the element earth. I mean Mama Gaia, earth energy, is really present with the sign of Taurus. What would we like to seed and find ourselves, or I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but like, how can we find ourselves living abundantly, all of us, on this planet? What are the seeds that you've planted this year with that gigantic potential avocado seed? There is so much potential in that. And I always love the metaphor of seeds, whether it's like the mustard seed in the Bible, the faith of a mustard seed, and you plant this tiny seed and it grows into this gigantic tree, or, the metaphor of acorns. And God, squirrels are constantly planting seeds for us. I don't know. It just feels so important to remember. And this may be because of this Uranus energy that's, really strong with us. Every uncomfortable moment that we have faced in 2020, which, let's be fair, let's be honest, there have been a lot. Every single one of those has been a seed planting opportunity or a vortex seeding opportunity for bringing the better. What is it that you really want in your life? What is it you really want in this world? What has 2020 seeded in your heart? Because this is important, and we do want to spend time with this over, these next few days as we as we move through this full moon. Now let's talk about the Uranus part of this. This is not my official full moon scope, but we do want to dig into it because it is happening rather early in the morning on Saturday, and it'll be Halloween, so I do want to dig into it a little bit. So this full moon is conjunct Uranus. Conjunct means they are on top of each other. They are working together, and I always say, when planets are together, they amplify each other. Just how children will amplify each other, planets do that to each other. So Uranus is amplifying the full moon, and the full moon is amplifying Uranus. So what is Uranus? It is change, sometimes very unexpected and swift change. For the better, for worse, it's always for the better, actually, with Uranus. It may not feel like it, it is always for the better. Uranus is always about our evolution. It's like, okay, it's time to level up, here we go. So it is for that. However, that is not necessarily easy. Evolution is not easy. It often causes personal revolutions. Sometimes there are breakdowns in order to get to the breakthrough. So in the sign of Taurus, breakdowns around our gifts, breakdowns around our worth, breakdowns around the material realm, breakdowns around money, breakdowns around what we value. All of that is very possible over the next couple days, even breakdowns around being valued. All of that could show up with this full moon energy. And yet, at the top of my cards, we've got the breakthrough. The rebel. The rebel is Uranus, rebelling through the feeling of need to be lying on the floor in a puddle and that's it, to a new arising. So, very potent energy incoming with this. But even if you are triggered along these next few days in a way that doesn't feel good, what does that not feeling good seed for you? And honoring, acknowledging, watering that seed, because that seed is feeling very receptive in this energy, and that is really important to notice and to work with in this energy. So potent. So like I said, triggers. Triggers may abound, but again, what are these triggers seeding? And even being receptive to these triggers as they show up. Potent, potent, potent medicine. I was just looking at the Sabian symbol, and let me just say, because I had somebody schooling me last Sabian symbol, that I do it wrong. I do it the way that feels right to me. I have been told over and over, and I will tell you, most people read the next degree, but in my school of astrology, Mimi School of Astrology, in the way I've learned it, the degree, that 8-degree energy, that number has a resonance. And so when I look in the Sabian symbol book, I look at that number because that is where the resonance is. So that is how I do it. You will hear other Sabian symbols from other people because most people read the next degree. They will read 9-degree instead of 8. There is a reason for that. It just has never resonated with me. And I am the rebel, and I do what feels right. So, if you wanted an explanation why, that's as good as it's going to get in this scope. Anyway, I love the Sabian symbol, even in relationship to what we were just talking about, planting the seeds. So, for Taurus, 8 degrees, it is a sleigh on land, uncovered by snow. So it's a sleigh, but it's there, ready for the future. Just like these seeds, they're there. They're ready to help us create this future. So it's realizing there are mechanisms, there are energies already put into place for how we are being called to move forward. So even if it feels like winter, here's our sleigh. We still have that chariot power to drive us forward, move us forward, and even talks about the future state of human evolution. There has been major evolution potential seeded in 2020. Not everybody's in the same place, clearly, and yet change is happening. So that phrase from the other night, We are the large minority, and those, I'm missing a few words, but those concerned with change, 100% on this leading edge. If you are listening to this, you are a part of that, and realize how potent, how powerful this energy is. No matter what happens in this election incoming, and so many other things, do not forget your power, and do not forget the power of the seemingly invisible. And do not forget the power of our evolution and our forward momentum that is 100% absolutely happening. So I really like that. And I will also say, speaking of forward momentum, for 9 degrees, the next degree that most people like, I wanted it to be this because I like it. It's a fully decorated Christmas tree. It's finding the light in the darkness. And as we are really swiftly moving into the darkest season, the darkest part of the season, at least in the northern hemisphere, it is an important time to also seed the light. So keep that in mind with this as well. So let's talk about this other astro that's going on before all this, but it was just so potent it needed to come all out. Besides this, we have the moon finishing up in Aries. The moon in Aries is hanging out with Lilith. So Lilith energy may be feeling very powerful, very emotional. There is power in your emotions. Again, can you be receptive to it? Even those unhappy emotions, the challenging emotions. What are these challenging emotions seeding and potentially watering? And can you be receptive to these energies? I have some water cards. We're in Scorpio. Allow the feeling, allow the healing. Tune in deeper to those energies. They are helping you release yourself from deeper past chains. So moon in Aries connecting to Lilith and squaring Saturn. So there's the way that you're feeling called, and there's the way of the shoulds. There's the way of your responsibility, and there's the way of your knee-jerk reactions. And somewhere you need to find your balance in between those places. I also feel like there may be some miscommunications and misunderstandings. Feels like breaks as I'm saying that, as we have the moon opposite Mercury. So do be conscientious of your communications, that it may not be received as you mean it. And also be aware of the other way, that you may not receive somebody's meaning as they mean it, as we have this opposition. And again, it can bring up triggers, and it may bring up feelings that need to be dealt with. Speaking of Uranus, Uranus is perihelion, which means it is the place in the orbit where it is closest to the sun. And that means Uranus energy abounds. I would be willing to get, we're going to have some Schumann resonance spikes happening over the next few days. You may feel spiky in your energy. You may feel jittery, tired, wired. Grounding is super important to help support you through that energy. Really settling in, seating yourself, letting those roots sink in, dig in, and that just adds to the power of this incoming full moon. So I know it's a lot, but this felt very powerful to say, and I love when messages just like, or let's like, you know. So that is it for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power. And stay curious. Namaste.